Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Rosslyn Hill Chapel, a spiritual home for open minds. I'm Andrew Appleyard, Board Treasurer and your worship assistant for this Unitarian service. Whoever you are and however you are this morning, there is a space for you here. Whatever your race, gender, sexuality, class, age, and physical and mental capability,
we welcome you in the spirit of love. We have small candles of joy and concerns which you are invited to light during the service. Also during the service, there is a children's chapel and creche for children aged 2 and above. Babies under 2 are welcome in the creche, but need to be accompanied by an adult. If you're watching at home, please join the virtual side aisle at midday. Zoom link was in the weekly email, and you can find it via the link in your YouTube description. And to those of you in the chapel, do join us for tea and coffee in the real side aisle after the service. At 2 p.m. this afternoon, there is our monthly Death Cafe, discussing end-of-life matters over tea and cake. At 3 p.m, members and friends are invited to the chapel's online AGM, a short but important meeting to discuss decisions about the chapel's future activities. You can find the Zoom details on our website and in your order of service. Members have had the passcode and the papers emailed to them. There are limited print copies of the papers on the steward's table at the back. At 6 p.m. this evening, we will have a mindfulness meditation, and at 7 p.m, our Sunday evening gathering is live music and meditation with Adam Slate. There are 2 district and national events to take note of. They are the Fuse, Festival of Unitarians in the Southeast, which will take place on the 2nd to 4th of June in Aylesford, Kent, and the Hucklow Summer School, which is the 19th to 26th August at the Unitarian Retreat Centre in Derbyshire. Details and links are in your service sheet and were sent to you in the weekly update. You can find information about these and all our other activities on our website. If you prefer a paper copy, pick up our new April Open Mind at the steward's table. The collection will be taken during the offertory music, and you can donate by cash or card. I will pass along the rows during, and you can tap to donate £5 or tap to donate more if you wish. In February and March, we've taken the decision to divide the collection between 2 causes: the British Red Cross Ukraine Crisis Appeal and the Des Turkey Syria Earthquake Appeal.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Reverend Kate Dean. I'm proud to serve as the minister for this wonderful, beloved community of ours. I'm going to light our chalice, the symbol of our liberal religious faith. We light the chalice in celebration of this spiritual community and those people who have met over the past 330 years on this site. Though they faced many challenges, their message of freedom, of reason, and tolerance continued to burn bright, and we continue to benefit from their courage, their generosity and kindness today. And so we give thanks for the legacy that they have bequeathed us, a beloved community which seeks to be a blessing to the world. Now, we come together on a Sunday and we like to get to know one another, so I invite you to turn to someone near you, say your name, and welcome them to chapel this morning. Thank you, friends. Let us sing our first hymn. It's in your service sheet. It's called All Are Welcome Here. And as is our custom, please listen for the introduction and then rise as you're able after the introduction to sing All Are Welcome Here. Now, I have a story for all ages. Just have to put my other microphone on. so you can see my little friends. And I think you'll probably recognize this one because it's by the storyteller Aesop. And this story is about a town mouse and a country mouse. Both little mice, looking a little bit different. One seems a little more rotund than the other. And in this story, the town mouse decided to visit her country cousin in the countryside. And they had a lovely time together, but when dinner time came, they sat in the country mouse's little field nest, and they ate some wheat stalks and some acorns and a little sip of cold water to drink. And being polite, the town mouse ate politely. She wasn't that impressed, though. And after dinner, when they sat around their little fire, she told her country cousin all about her life in the big city. Oh, how wonderful it was to be living in the big city. So many exciting adventures, so much food to eat. So much so that the country mouse said, oh, perhaps I could come and visit you in your town house. And so they went off to the town. And when all was quiet in the evening, they crept out into the dining room and they saw an enormous table full of a leftover feast. There were jellies and pastries and cheeses. The little country mouse had never seen anything like it. And they were just about to creep up to the table when they heard a meow and a scratch, scratch, scratch at the door, and there was a cat about to come through the door, so they had to scuttle away again and hide in the little hole. And just when it seemed like the cat had slunk away, they crept out again to reach the food, and then there was a as the door came open again, and the servants came in to clear away all the food, followed by the house dog. Woof, woof, woof. And they had to rush away again, and they rushed back to the town mouse's hole, and the little country mouse, she didn't stop. She grabbed her bag, and she grabbed her umbrella, and she said, well, I may live a simple life in the countryside, but it is better to be living a nice, simple, peaceful life than thinking that something's going to come out and bite me at any moment. And she scurried away to her simple life back in the countryside. So sometimes the simple pleasures are the most important. Now, although we don't have children to sing out, they may well be in the hall already. Let's sing our song, Go Now in Peace. Now I invite you into a time of prayer and meditation. We come together in fellowship each Sunday with hearts full of joys and full of concerns. If you are holding someone in your heart this morning, I invite you to say their name aloud in the coming moments of stillness, so that we may also hold them in our prayers. Spirit of life and love, God of our hearts, we give thanks for those who bring us joy, and we pray for the safekeeping of all those whom we hold in concern. For all those names, spoken and unspoken, may they be surrounded by the loving kindness that we offer them today. Blessed be, and amen. And now we come to our offertory, and we will take the collection, which will be divided between the British Red Cross Crisis Appeal for Ukraine and the DEC Appeal for the Turkey-Syria earthquake. The collection will now be taken. Thank you for the many ways that you contribute to our spiritual community through your time, your talent, and your treasure. Being part of a spiritual community is one way to welcome the divine and to find a sense of belonging. Writing about his time as a minister for a London Unitarian congregation, the Reverend Cal Courtney recollects, "We decided to abandon the burden of worry and embrace instead, as wholeheartedly as we could, the adventure of faith. Central to this adventure was the obligation to keep our door open for other travelers who might come our way. We were not a church with a message to sell. We were a community of seekers with love to share." A community of seekers with love to share is a great need in a lonely city. Courtney suggests that the feeling of isolation which used to be ascribed to teenagers and young adults, has become a symptom of the malaise in Westerners of all ages. And though writing a few decades ago, it seems to me that this message of community is even more relevant today. A community of seekers with love to share is a fine ideal which is well worth striving for, yet it can be more challenging than we might imagine if we are to be open and welcoming as a community for all. The author Philip Yancey recalls Henry Nouwen's, the theologian Henry Nouwen's oft-quoted phrase, "Community is a place where the person you least want to live always lives." And Yancey responded, "Often we surround ourselves with the people we most want to live with, which forms a club or a clique, not a community. Anyone can form a club. It takes grace, shared vision, and hard work to form a community." The way we allow the divine, ultimate reality, or your best self, if you like, into our lives will shape how we welcome others into our lives and how we behave when we are guests in other people's lives. If we are to live in true community, how do we get along with people we don't like? It's such a common problem, but isn't that a path for growth, rather than sitting comfortably with people we are comfortable with? Life hands us endless challenges and opportunities for reflection. And we can remember the words that are sometimes attributed to that great Unitarian Francis David: "We need not think alike to love alike." A community is full of people who are like you, and yet more people who are not like you. So let us be generous with our time and our behavior as we open our doors and our lives to others. Let us expand our horizons and welcome difference in our community with an open heart. Now let us sing our second hymn. It's in your purple hymnal. Hymn number 61, "Here in this Moment's Song." Hymn number 61. And it's sung to a familiar tune for us. So let's sing up to hymn number 61.
I invite you into a time of prayer and meditation. Let us begin by being aware of our sitting position. Your legs should be uncrossed, with your feet planted on the ground, your connection to the earth. Sit up straight, relaxed yet alert. Close your eyes or soften your gaze and take a few calm, deep breaths in and out. Notice the cool air as you breathe in and the warm air as you breathe out. Turn your attention inwards, focusing on your heart. You might like to rest the palm of your hand on your chest to make that heart connection. In the coming moments of stillness, I offer these words by Hope Johnson, who was an African-American Unitarian Universalist. We are one, a diverse group of proudly kindred spirits, here not by coincidence, but because we choose to journey together. We are active and proactive. We care deeply. We live our love as best we can. We are one, working, eating, laughing, playing, singing, storytelling, sharing, and rejoicing. Getting to know each other, taking risks, opening up, questioning, seeking, searching, trying to understand, struggling, making mistakes, paying attention, asking questions, listening, living our answers, learning to love our neighbours, learning to love ourselves, apologising and forgiving with humility, and being forgiven through grace, creating the beloved community together. We are one.
I'm going to invite Mary to come forward. Mary's going to read some words by Katie Gosling. Katie can't be with us today, but I'm delighted that Mary Blitz will be reading her reflections on the challenge of community. Both Katie and Mary are chapel members, and they have also been attending a sermon writing course that I've been running called the Shared Pulpit. Katie was also our children's chapel coordinator during the pandemic, and so some of you may have come across her videos, over 50 of them, on our chapel YouTube channel, which kept our community of families connected through those difficult times. So, over to you, Mary.
Community by Kate Gosling. Community is a given, unless you live as a hermit, tucked far away in a forest. Like it or not, you are part of a community. This is usually seen in terms of where you live, your neighbourhood, the people in it. It's what keeps us together. The shared geographical location, whether it be in a tiny village or a borough of London. But what really does community mean to you? Is it something you feel part of? Is it something you feel you contribute to and are recognised in? Or is it something aside from yourself? There is, of course, the community here, the spiritual community, one where we can come together over beliefs to debate what we feel is a shared, unified feeling, and one where we are inclusive of different communities, whether they be other religions or sexuality. I felt extremely lucky to be part of Rosslyn Hill community. I've been a member for only 2 years, but it's definitely helped shape and support the person I am today. I was recommended it many years before I attended, and then was lucky enough to help with the children's chapel. When COVID struck, community was never needed as much. It was then that Reverend Kate asked me to try to produce online videos to support the continuity of coming together of the families of Rosslyn Hill. It was funny trying to be someone to create cohesion of people remotely. But I think, for the most part, it was successful. Afterwards, I found that I was slow in returning in person. Once chapel had reopened, I've become a remote regular. This is the coined phrase, remote regular. I am part of the chapel community that either cannot or chooses not to attend in person, and have sometimes, although not as much as I should or wish, also attend the remote regular side aisle online. I love it because it helps me still be a member. However, I do at times wonder how much I am still helping to be the best member I can be in terms of the Unitarian community at Rosslyn Hill. One elder said to me at the toddler group, I should try and attend at least once a month in person. Perhaps there is something in the regular in-person attendees that feel a remote regular should still attend in person, otherwise something of the community is lost. However, from my point of view, I love watching online as I can stay with the family that won't come and attend with me. They can still watch it with me if they want, and also, if I'm too busy, I can watch it at an alternate time. I really dig the fact that you can watch a lot of the Unitarian Sunday services around the UK online. I knew a couple of remote regulars on the youth network who would attend remotely 3 or 4 online services. They wanted to reach out and listen to different communities. One thing in my personal life that has meant I am already a part of a community is the housing co-op I live in. That has been a given since my birth, as my great-grandmother's flat became part of the co-op just before I was born, as my father lived with her. It's made up of 130 units, ranging from key worker shared flats, studio bedsits, to 7-bed flats. It was formed in 1975 and is one of London's oldest housing co-ops, if not the oldest. I just assumed growing up that everyone lived like this, with lovely old buildings, for the most part, friendly neighbours, and a shared garden with fruit trees in. When I had my own children there, I got to see them feel like this too. Although sometimes they say, "Mum, you say hi to everyone." I say, that is just how I am. I feel like everyone is part of the same community. And I think this is what draws me to Unitarian values, that we are all in it together. The co-op had such an extreme cultural diversity and differing religions that this has helped me understand other ways of believing in what I fundamentally see as a similar story explained in an alternate way. We all want to be included and feel okay. It is at times when I felt most vulnerable that I've been grateful time and again for the co-op community. They have rehoused our family in larger accommodation when my children were born. It's run by volunteers, and those who run the management committee have to go by sets of rules and regulations, but listen to the different requests of each person and family. If a family's parent dies and leaves the children, adult, in the accommodation, they will try their very best to rehouse them. If a family unit falls apart, they will try to support them the very best. And sometime recently, I felt so grateful I wanted to reintegrate and help out more on the committees. On a personal level, I sometimes resent the fact in myself that I only really appreciate how I can best help once I am helped by the community. I think there are times before this that maybe I can step up more. And perhaps that is something that I am thinking about for Rosslyn Hill. To be given a chance to use my voice and talk about community is such a blessing. What does community mean to you? What communities are you part of, other than your location of your dwelling or coming to chapel? It is a well-known phrase at the moment, this idea of the running community. A lot of people have heard of Parkrun, where you can register for free and take a barcode to most local parks around the UK and get your time recorded for a 5K run every Saturday morning. I do feel I am part of the community there, especially when my friend and we made it to the Socials WhatsApp group. What other communities? Work community? We are also asked time and again how best to support isolated folk and elderly in our community. We have a local charity called Likewise, who try to support the mental health needs of the community. Did COVID and the ideas that were formed remain in place? Or did we revert to the old ideas of community? Was the horrific pandemic's only silver lining that it brought out the best of us in that way? Did we just lose what we should have learned about community in that time? I still feel there is more to be done. I still feel that in the isolation I felt as a parent of young children, that more can be done. But then our own wants and perspective on the community moves on, and perhaps our own busy lives mean we neglect what we've learned. I wanted to start a community wildflower garden. I banded together a group of well-meaning local folk. We talked to Camden about it. We drew up ideas for the scheme and for funding. And then it stalled. What do we need in ourselves to make the best community now and in the future? And in a more easy sense, how can we best enjoy our community now, right now, and today? Here is a little poem with a take on this idea of being seen as the pillar of the community. A highly regarded individual that steps up, that helps with the personal, social, and enterprising part of a community. This poem is just about a tree and how it has witnessed communities come and go, but is just part of it. Perhaps this is a beautiful way to see ourselves. 320 years in the making. Lovers have met. Battles have been fought, won, and lost. And the afternoon heat has been endured here. The king of the castle triumphed and was duly deposed here. Armies were seen off, defenders overwhelmed, an enemy base, a home sanctuary, hitching post, rendezvous, spaceship, and monkey bars. Oh, and cuckoos have been heard here. Countless hands, feet, and tired posteriors have left their mark, and it has left a mark in my heart here, the old tree trunk in the park.
Thank you so much, Mary, and thank you, Katie, if you're watching as a remote regular. Now let us sing our final hymn. It's in your purple Sing Your Faith hymnal, hymn number 83, Just As Long As I Have Breath, hymn number 83. remain standing while we take part in a communal blessing. If you'd like to turn to the back of your hymnal, there's a blessing at 243, number 243 of the affirmations. I'll give you a moment to find it. It's called This Is My Church, number 243, right at the back of your hymnal. So let us now say affirmation 243 together. This is my church. It is composed of people like me. What it is? I want it to be a church that is a lamp to the path of pilgrims, leading them to goodness, truth, and beauty. It will be if I am. It will make generous gifts to many causes if I am a generous giver. It will bring other people into its worship and fellowship if I bring them. It will be friendly if I am. Its pews will be filled if I fill them. It will do great work if I work. It will be a church of loyalty and love, of fearlessness and faith, a church with noble spirit, if I, who make it what it is, am filled with these. Therefore, I shall dedicate myself to the task of being all these things I want my church to be. Blessed be. Please be seated.
Thank you so much to our music director, John Evans, for that lovely ending piece. And thanks to all of those who have helped today to make this service so special. Please join us for refreshments in the side aisle. Thank you.